deal to revive Ajaokuta Steel in game-changing industrial push. Energy costs blamed for Nigeria's inflation surge, CBN survey reveals. Zenith Bank crowned Nigeria's best bank. Again, NGX ends short trading week on a high, so all-share index gains 2.57% despite lower turnover. Naccima warns of economic risk as government policies threaten exports and jobs. Hello, welcome to Business 360. I'm Vivian Akinyosuye. It's Monday here in Lagos, Nigeria, and so we begin with moves by the federal government to accelerate Nigeria's industrialization. The Nigeria-China Strategic Partnership, NCSP, is working with the Federal Ministry of Steel Development to revive the long-dormant Ajaokuta Steel Company under a proposed zero-cost investment deal. The initiative, fully backed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is being structured as a public-private partnership between Nigeria and leading Chinese steel manufacturers. The deal involves a 10-year revenue sharing agreement, ensuring Nigeria incurs no upfront financial burden while unlocking long-term economic benefits. Meanwhile, a new report from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has revealed that a staggering 90.8% of Nigerian firms consider energy costs, including petrol, diesel, and electricity, as the leading cause of inflation in the country. This finding was disclosed in the bank's May 2025 Inflation Expectations Survey, signaling deep-rooted concerns about the nation's economic cost structure. The survey underscores how structural challenges such as erratic energy supply and rising fuel prices are outpacing the effects of monetary tightening. Despite the CBN maintaining a high policy rate of 27.5%, inflation continues to surge, largely fueled by supply-side pressures that interest rate hikes alone may not adequately address. In addition to energy costs, 88.5% of respondent firms pointed to exchange rate volatility as the second most significant factor influencing inflation. With Nigeria's currency facing consistent pressure, the cost of imported goods continues to escalate, compounding inflationary trends. Economy analyst Ambrose Omodion says the report by the CBN confirms the need for government to pay attention to infrastructure as it goes a long way, adding to the overall performance of businesses in the country.
For me, the three factors that I mentioned as a factor that are impacting inflation heavily in Nigeria, they are very, very important in anywhere in the world. If the government can address this issue, to go a long way to boost our business environment, and that will also help Nigeria to achieve the $1 trillion economy that the government is envisaging. I believe that the more we address it, the better for consumers, also consumers and others that are in the market. Because why I say so, if the cost of all this energy are dropping, and also not only dropping, they are available for people to have to, it will go a long way, because most factories that are paying for their enrollment, they tell you what they pay as charges for a month to run their business. You say God, because it is from the, for me, less a little, because the idea of different band A, band B. I mean, example of where I stay, that they charge 100,000 naira for where I stay. It's 2 weeks that can take you, and also the light is not coming. For me, I believe that a lot of restructuring, and also government should come in and see where they can intervene. If we also remove the subsidy from fuel, and you still want to use to drive infrastructure, energy is one of the infrastructure that is very important to drive economy. I think they can also invest in this sector to make sure that there is a lot of improvement to drive the economy, because anywhere in the world, you want to drive the economy, energy is very, very important, because most big factories is what they need. That's why crude oil price international market is very, very important, because most companies use it to heat up their business, heat up their factory. And for us in Nigeria here, we need energy to drive, and also for transportation. For if the cost of fuel is high, I tell you, cost of moving goods from the farm to the market will also be high, and that will factor into what price of goods and services. For me, also, like I said earlier, that we can take it as well as 500, that would also be nice because it moved from as low as 120, 140 to almost 1,000. Gradually, we are seeing around 800 and 70, 860 of PlayStation. Gradually, if we can get it to 700, from 700 to 600, it might not be overnight thing. And let us go with that. Gradually, our inflation, our economy will be in for a better tomorrow. That at the end of the day, insecurity will start coming down because people are engaged. I tell you that at the beginning also that you can't wish away economy when you are doing politics. You need economy to do your politics.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose. It's been awesome speaking with you. We look forward to having you again. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Yes.
1 minute.
For me, I see that the three components mentioned there or factors mentioned there are very key. They are genuine in terms of cost for manufacturing sector and every other aspect of the economy, because these are essential things that you need to run your business. When it comes to energy, anywhere in the world, energy is very, very important. And that is why when they say fossil fuel, they are going to look for solar, it's because the cost of energy is high, people look for alternative. Here in Nigeria, government have not enough infrastructure to support that. And I'll tell you that today, Nigeria is generating up to like almost 10,000 megawatt. But the distribution sector or the have no capacity. They don't have the facility to distribute this energy. That's why we are complaining today. If as they are generating, they have what to do, that would be a plus. I think that is still the concern of the government now. If you really want to achieve your $1 trillion dollar economy, you need energy to drive that, and not only just like just read. The monetary policy might do nothing to tight the door, but if this three aspect is not addressed, their effort will be in vain. That means the year is the time for monetary policy and fiscal authority to come together to see how to address the issue and make sure that this is solved so that it can boost business energy. Because the more our economy is expanding, the more we're engaging our youth, the more security is also improving. Because if people are engaged, I'll tell you to have a reward for solving insecurity today in Nigeria. That means if they can address this issue, that will go a long way to drive the economy that we all dream of. I believe that if this government can lay emphasis on it, now they have done a lot of things. We are seeing road construction, fine, good. But I think these three things is very, very important. They can pay attention to it. I believe that yes, gradually we are seeing fuel price coming down. But if fuel price can come down as low as below 500 naira, or that 500 naira to go a long way, because cost of transportation will reduce, because these are the things that will impact on what comparison of goods.
Still on economy, free trade zones, targeted innovations, and long overdue structural reforms could unlock growth, boost export potential, and as well create sustainable jobs across the country, according to Dr. Dele Oye, President, National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Naccima. He was speaking at the Vanguard Economic Summit, which came up recently in Lagos. He says current government policies are placing Nigeria's non-oil exports and job creation efforts at risk, highlighting how rising costs and inconsistent policy frameworks are stifling business confidence and as well deterring investment in critical sectors beyond oil.
People cannot enter a place where they cannot come out with a certain time frame. So law and order is the most important. Like I said, you cannot do it in the midst of fire. Once you don't obey your force, once you don't obey your laws, once you don't enforce it, there is no incentive for somebody else to commit the same crime. So people must do the right thing. And no matter how inconvenient, the most right is issue of predatory policy. And this is the biggest problem, uncertainty. Government will just wake up and change the rules of the game. And in businesses, if businesses are in a reaction mode instead of planning, nobody does anything serious. You are virtually turning the economy from a productive one to a trading one. But it's only traders that can wake up in the midnight, they change the prices in the supermarkets, they change one. But if you have a production line, you bought diesel yesterday at a certain price, you bought all sorts of inputs, you cannot do that. So it's very important that you should be able to say, within the next 1 year, the Naira will not exceed 1,500. I'm not saying the government should peg it, but at least, if you say to us as businesses that that will be the threshold, I cannot take the risk and know that no matter how bad, the policy risk will not will be minimized. So this is what we talk about productivity. And I can also mention in the last tax day, the free trade zone, we only informed when the bill was already at the National Assembly. They barely had 5 days. And that is a $200 billion investment in your economy. You gave them 5 days to let them know that they have cancelled the rules of the game. By even annulling their own law under which they exist and moving to a tax bill. So these are the challenges. Nobody takes you serious when you are not predictable. And we have seen what they have done to the American Stock Exchange. Because every day we don't know what will happen. Every press conference there's a change in policy. So this is why we have all these challenges. It's very difficult with our current budgetary limitations to completely develop the entire country. We've tried to use the free trade zones as an example. This was just like what China did under the Jinping. After Chairman Mao left, they know that they could not tell the average Chinese that it should become capitalist. What they simply did in China was to use the free trade and economic zones, and they introduced capitalism there. They say, oh, it's not in China, it's outside China. But you now see what eventually happened. Those free trade zones developed to become mega cities. And you have just recently heard from Dubai. You know, in Dubai before, when you are within the free trade zone, you cannot trade in the municipal unless you have a sponsor. They are knocking down those walls. And these are one of the reasons why you saw Naccima during the recent tax deal. We're fighting the FRS to let them know that these are free trade zones are places where you can grow your economy. You don't sit there and say that your enemy territory or the way it was perceived. And that was why we insisted that they should not introduce tax in the free trade zone, allow them to continue to operate so that they can compete internationally with other countries. And also, the government does not own more than 2 out of the 50 free trade zones we have in Nigeria. So it's private capital development. Government charging tax in the free trade zone is amount to like the federal government asking people in the private university to pay school fees to the federal government. It's the same thing. It's private sector investment they've done. So you are supposed to encourage them and ensure that they can develop and use the China style or the Dubai style now to get them to bring the development to Nigeria. Like I always say, can you imagine Nigeria without Eco-Atlantic? We will not have Victoria Land today because the bandage has already overwhelmed us already. So these are the things without Dangote Industries. Can you imagine? So all the things that have happened in the last 20 years, the center of creativity, the center of innovation, have happened in all our free trade zones. Dangote Industries represents the 8th wonder of the world. It was an EPC contract that was built from scratch in Nigeria with India head. What that means is the design, everything happened in Nigeria. Then you now have some people where they say Ipman, that they prefer fuel from Malta than the one that is produced here. What is even more shocking, they land it cheaper than the one that is produced in Nigeria. Which means the source of the fuel will not be a genuine one. And the reason why they are bringing it to Nigeria is that they cannot sell it abroad because of traceability. If you have a wrong source of getting anything and you take it to Europe outside Nigeria, you can't sell it. So that's why they keep landing cheaper than the one even produced in Nigeria. So they said they even told us that they have sold everything and that they should go back and start importing. One of the biggest things we need to know, Dangote alone has so many, apart from the PMS and fuel, they've shown that their product is better. They've sent to America, they sent to Saudi Arabia. The people that could not repair refinery were telling us that the one they are doing nowadays is not good enough. All the people that organized pilgrimage to that particular refinery to go and tell us that it's working, those all of them should be tried. That's obtained by false pretenses. We have old men who have retired from organizations coming to tell us that the refinery is working. If the refinery is working, it's the product that tells us, not the pilgrimage. So this is why we are very happy with the recent change in that sector. They built in sufficient private sector knowledge into it. Probably one of the best appointments ever made in Nigeria, where you have people who have invested to go and run it. What it does, I'll tell you, what it does is the people, anytime you appoint someone who is not big enough into an office, that the office will create the person, the person can steal and misbehave. The guys who send them and they have an international reputation, both to themselves and to the industry, and they have no option, they will perform. So this is the way we should go. Be unpredictable and avoid divisive governance style. This is for our government. style that we are witnessing under the current American administration that serves as a cautionary tale. We must instead prioritize consistency, inclusive governance, one that respects democratic institutions and values and input on all Nigerians. So we should avoid that kind of void vote we had in House of Reps when our television clearly showed that there were more empty seats than people. If we are going to vote on constitutional matter, we expect them to take a roll call so that we can actually be sure that we are compliant with our laws. So in conclusion, the road ahead will be fraught with challenges, but it's also rich with promise. With strategic foresight, resolute cooperation, and an unwavering commitment to sustainable practices, I'm confident that we can confront these trials and emerge as a resilient nation. Together, let us pave the way for an economy that not only survives adversity, but truly thrives. A testament to the indomitable spirit of our people. I already mentioned Dangote as the eighth wonder. There's nothing like that anywhere in the world. So if you have anything to brag anytime you go abroad, use that. I went to Michigan. I went to one refinery and I said, this is so small. I'm just sitting down waiting. I brought out the picture, I flashed it, all of them were looking. So you must talk about yourself. So generally, experience teaches us that decisions are actions based on sentiments. This is very important. Ignorance are always unhelpful. As we see in the USA's gamble with tariffs. Instead, nations should deploy knowledge, ethics. This is very important. Because in this regime there, you have all the conspiracy theories who are telling you something that is so obvious, the tell you like this.
After the break, NGX ends short trading week on a high as the all-share index gains 2.57% despite lower turnover. In just a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Business 360. Zenith Bank has once again been recognized as Nigeria's best bank, again securing the prestigious title for the 5th time in 6 years. This achievement underscores the bank's consistent excellence, innovation, and leadership in the Nigerian financial sector. The award was conferred by Global Finance Magazine, a leading international finance publication renowned for its credibility in evaluating global banking performance. Zenith Bank stood out for its robust financial performance, strategic investments in digital banking, and strong customer service delivery. Investors at the Nigerian Exchange traded for 4 days last week as the federal government declared Friday, June 6th and Monday, June 9th as public holidays to mark the 2025 Eid al-Kabir celebration. Despite the 4-day trading window, the market, And on to stock market reports. Investors at the Nigerian Exchange traded for 4 days last week as the federal government declared Friday, June 6th and Monday, June 9th as public holidays to mark the 2025 Eid al-Kabir celebration. Despite the 4-day trading window, the market posted a positive performance. The all-share index rose by 2.57% to close at 114,606.75 basis points, while market capitalization closed higher at 72.275 trillion naira. In terms of activity, investors exchanged 3,214 billion shares worth 76.348 billion naira across 64,156 transactions. However, this marked a decline from the previous week's figures of 3,794 billion shares valued at 119.394 billion naira in 89,636,000 deals. The financial services sector once again dominated the charts, accounting for nearly 72% of total volume and over 68% total value, with 2,313 billion shares traded, valued at 52.241 billion naira in over 27,000 deals. Now, 53 equities appreciated in price during the week, lower than 56 in the previous week, while 43 equities topped the losers chart, lower than 44 recorded in the previous week. Market sentiment remains cautiously optimistic, with investors keeping a close eye on macroeconomic indicators and corporate disclosures. Now, to discuss these results with me, I'm being joined by CEO, Invest Data and Markets Analyst, Ambrose Omordion. You're welcome to the show, Ambrose.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we've seen a trend in the market in recent times. We've seen a bullish run back to back. Now, how would you rate the performance of the Nigerian stock market in the second half of 2025?
For me, the market have done excellently looking at the factors behind the rally, because in any rally, there's factor behind it. In any down market, there's factor behind that market. What have supported our market in uptrend is company performance and also the economic reform of the government. To look back to post COVID-19 to date, our market has sustained 6 years uptrend. I mean, 6 years full run. And we saw this thing again. That was 1999 to 2004. That we saw another 6 years rally like this. Tell you that government policy has a way of also supporting the market. When President Obasanjo came on board in 1990, because of compared to democracy, we are seeing reform, there was a lot of confidence that drove the market for that 6 years. As we speak now, the same trend is what we are seeing. Investor confidence in Nigeria is coming stronger and stronger. And economic policy of the government also is a point to where the government is going. And the companies that we put money in, that we invested in, are doing well, rewarding investors handsomely with dividend. And this is what is boosting our market rally as we speak. And also to add to it, high cap stocks that are not in the market during that 1990 to 2004, we are seeing more high cap stock on the exchange today. And that also supported the trend that the market have successfully hit the all-time high in the history of Nigeria market, 114,000 mark. For me, this is a great achievement for incumbent government. Yes, they might say other factors of the economy are not doing well, but I tell you, for those in the capital market, since this government came on board, I think that the market are really enjoyed their policy. For me, say kudos to them and also investors that are also benefiting from this strategy.
Now, what are the biggest macroeconomic trends investors in emerging markets should be paying attention to right now?
In any market, liquidity is the major fundamental of the market. When there's liquidity, that means that people are having fun to buy stuff. That liquidity also comes from what? Cheaper form. When you look at the interest rate of any economy, it has a word, blessing word, where funds to flow into. When you say high interest rate, they involve an anti-capital market, equity market policy. You see that funds that leaving stock market forward for lower free, investment windows like bond, KDP, because they don't want to take risk. And we are seeing higher yield because of what? High interest rate. On the other hand, it's the reverser. The funds are coming lower, cheaper. Interest are coming lower, cheaper. So the funds also believing the bond market will not take calculated risk in equity space. Because any economy, where there is low interest rate, it will boost economic activities. Companies have access to cheaper funds. And the companies work very effectively. When companies are doing well and they pay high dividend, that's why that particular time, see the funds believe in other markets, because I tell you that the easiest way to do that for fund is that when interest rate is kind of hit a hike or kind of cost, you see that money will move to the other direction. When there's hike interest rate, fund will leave the equity market to work with the bond, with fixed income instrument. But when also there's a cut in rate, you see the fund also will leave the fixed income market, bond, all those trade with to equity, where they can take up. That means the major opportunity that I'm to look at, and it's an economic event that comes every 2 months. Yes, it's also going to tell you what the thing is going to look like. because when you adjust it or you actually look at your inflation, because it's very, very important. Because if it's what we've seen, price of goods are going high. Investors, regulators want to open that the majority of any central bank will go is for price stability. They want to know, oh, it's going up less high so that we can more for some. But what is it that yes, that there is a total stability in the economy? Like now in Nigeria, we have witnessed like two occasions where the monetary policy committee has left rates unchanged. It's a signal because when we kind of replace our inflation, we saw that the first month of the year was had a decline in inflation, which also was saw in the month of February. But in March, we saw things picking up to the upside. Have an uptick, but in April, we saw a decline. That's why every analyst, every investor, every portfolio manager are looking to see how the main inflation going to come out. If it come out, also seeing it going backward, that means it's a signal that we're likely to see a rate cut, even though it's 25 basis points in the next MPC coming out in the month of July. That will send the signal. Once that is why I see markets going up like this, because I would say many analysts or many are looking at, if there's any decline in inflation in the month of May, we're likely to see rate cut, even though it's just more point cut. That will send a signal to the economy and to the investors.
Thank you very much, Sir Ambrose. It's been awesome speaking with you. We look forward to having you again. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And to the foreign states, oil prices slipped further Thursday, weighed down by a combination of rising U.S. fuel inventories, Saudi Arabia's price hawks for Asian buyers, and growing global economic uncertainty. Brent crude futures fell by 1 cent to $64.85 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI declined by 11 cents to close at $62.74 per barrel. The drop follows a roughly 1% loss on Wednesday, triggered by official data showing a larger than expected build in U.S. gasoline and distillate stockpiles, signaling softer demand. And with that, we call it a wrap on this week's episode of the show. For more stories, do visit www.ab1tv.com or www.business360news.com. From all of us at Business 360, here's wishing you a happy Eid al-Kabir celebration. Bye-bye.